while Rob's presenting, and since we're recording, feel free to turn your cameras off and then we can turn them back on when we're discussing.
Okay. Yeah, feel free. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Rob Pickup, one of the enterprise coordinators with the Gloucestershire Careers Hub, and I'm joined by Vanessa as well, who's on the call. And if you want to introduce yourself, Vanessa, or just give a wave, completely up to you what you want to do.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I'm another enterprise coordinator at the Careers Hub, and Rob and I have been working together on the CPD programme.
Perfect. Yeah. So this year we're looking at putting on different events, predominantly online, around different focus areas. And the first of that series is today, and looking at the careers impact system. What I'm going to do is share a presentation I've got. If any questions throughout, please let me know. Okay, so this is an introduction to the Careers Impact System, or CIS. I'll try to remember to use the long term because a lot of people have said about we use acronyms too much, so we're going to try and take that on board. And this is what we are focusing on today. So there's kind of four areas of this. And the first, we're going to look exactly at what the Careers Impact System is, including the Careers Maturity Model, internal leadership reviews, and peer-to-peer reviews. I'll introduce the system, and then what I'm going to do is we've got Sam Tricky on the call, who is career lead at Gloucestershire College, and going to share their experiences of doing the internal leadership review, and I'll bring them in very shortly. This is what the Careers Impact System is. It's standardized continuous improvement and quality assurance of careers across the system. So across your whole organization, not just the careers standalone. And hopefully we have a little video, which I'm going to hope the sound is going to work if I've done it correctly. If not, I will.
We're not getting sound there, Rob.
Ah, typical. Right. I know what the mistake is because I did this earlier today. Let's try again. Take two. Right, we'll try again.
Embedding a sustainable and strategic approach to careers leadership can seem daunting. A complex task for education and careers leaders. That's why we have developed the Careers Impact Internal Leadership Review, designed to simplify this process. It forms a key component of the Careers Impact System. Free and open access to all schools, special schools and colleges to undertake at their own pace. At the heart of the review is our Careers Impact Maturity Model. Divided into 6 themes, each directly linked to the Gatsby benchmarks. Unpacking what good looks like in a sustainable and strategic way. Supporting careers and education leaders to align careers leadership to wider institutional priorities. Step 1. Staff convene to reflect on the maturity model. Step 2. The group agree on the best fit statements that reflect their careers leadership practice. Step 3. They record responses in Compass Plus or Compass to provide a snapshot of strengths and areas needing action. Step 4. Careers and education leaders act on strategic priorities and report to SLT and governors. Supporting institutions with a simple, strategic approach to careers leadership and ensuring a sustainable, seamless transition when careers leaders change. Driving continuous improvement to maximize positive student outcomes. Visit the resource directory to find out how you can get started with your internal leadership review today at resources.careersанdenterprise.co.uk.
I'll let them in. And this is just kind of an overview of the value of doing a careers impact internal leadership review, whether you're a school, a special school, or a college. And in a minute, you're going to hear from somebody who has been through that process. And this is just a reminder that, yes, the benchmarks are still there as an indicator of what you are doing, and achieving in careers, whereas this is more the how of to do this. And as you can see at the bottom, the bold bit, and this is a lot of the direction, a lot of the terminology that's being used is this embedded careers as the vehicle to address the wider improvement priorities and how it plays a part for every student. And this is how you're going to do that and why you should do that. But before I do that, I'm going to stop sharing and hopefully Sam is, and I'm going to invite Sam Tricky to kind of just, if you wouldn't mind, Sam, quick introduction and then how you found the process and why you decided to do it and how you went about doing that, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, sure. Hi, can everyone hear me okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm Sam Tricky. I'm the careers leader at Gloucestershire College. I've been in the careers leader role since about 2017. So I was really happy to have a go at doing the internal leadership review. The reason I did it, well, can I say one, because Angie Winters said I probably should, and secondly, because probably Compass supports and to an extent, but actually for me, I was about to start writing my new career strategy for 2025-27. So actually it was really timely for me to do the internal leadership review. The form, I guess, that you complete and the activity, once you get your head around how that works, actually, it was really intuitive to use. But I guess for me, it probably does start from a place of collaboration, that it's not something that you as a careers lead can do in isolation, and nor should you do it in isolation, because that's not actually what that is about. It is quite collaborative, or needs to be quite collaborative. So I pulled together somebody from our senior exec team, myself and the head of student support, and we did it as a collective together. And basically you go through those 6 different sections which align with the Gatsby benchmarks, and really it's a self-assessment audit tool to rate yourself about where you think you are now, what you think you're doing really well, because that is really important. This isn't about saying, oh, we don't do this very well, we don't do this very well. It's actually, what do we do really well? What could we be better at? And what are our priorities for the coming year or the coming 6 months? Because sometimes there are lots of things that we'd like to do better, but we can't do them all at the same time. So it does allow you to prioritize. And I ended up rag rating each of my boxes as well, you know, my criteria, because we love a rag rate in college. I think it's probably similar in schools. And I actually rag rated, so I had a much more of a visual rather than words of, okay, which are the areas that we are doing really, really well? Are there any outstanding areas that we can really, really shout about? And are there areas that we need to prioritize? And therefore, those are the themes and highlights in my career strategic plan that I was writing. So actually, it was really timely for me. It gave me the purpose of really doing a very clear audit, a clear self-assessment with the right people in the room. It could equally be done as as careers lead, you do it, and then maybe somebody else does it in isolation, but you then come together and compare, because as a threesome we've sort of quite challenged each other, because I'm probably a bit harsher as careers lead, whereas somebody else might say, well, do you know what, I think actually being a bit harsh then we do that really well because of this and this. Here's the evidence, here's the impact. So that was the first step of it. Do the internal leadership review document, and we did that in, I think it was around November, December time, and then shared that with other people across the organisation. And these are our sort of areas that we really want to prioritise and work on in the strategic plan. And then over the summer, I think it was June or July, we did the peer review meeting with 2 other colleges. So Angie set that up.
Can you hold that thought, please?
Yeah, of
You're
course.
jumping the gun
Of
for the second
course.
bit, but yeah.
Sorry,
So
Rob.
that's fine. So the first part, you did your internal leadership review.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more about that, and then I'm going to jump back into peer-to-peer in a bit. But save your
Okay.
thought process. But no, it's really valuable. Thank you for that. So yeah, as you said, you did it collaboratively, and we know some schools have done it as the career lead sits down and does it. Senior leaders do it, and actually how those both work. And you'll hear from another career lead later on about how they went about doing it. So you've got different opinions from different organizations. But thank you very much for that. And I need to go back to this. He says when it decides to come up. Need to get to the right page. Okay, so as we saw earlier, the video was just an introduction to it, and for some reason it's not coming up. There you go. And these are the 6 themes that it was talking about, and hopefully you can see it quite clearly, but aligns to the benchmarks. There are 8 benchmarks, but there are only 6 themes, but you can see which benchmarks are relevant into each theme that you do it with. So when you're doing your internal leadership review, you focus on all 6, and that'll become apparent later on about why it's 6, and then later on it isn't. And we touched on it, Sam's touched on it. It's based on a maturity model, and there are 4 columns, and this is how it should look. So as you can see, number 1 is, as you can see, standalone provision. It's kind of ad hoc activity, but there is stuff happening. Next step is, okay, well, there's stuff that's got a little bit of strategicness and progression behind it. Number 3 is, right, how do we get everybody on board with this? How are we implementing it across the organization? And then number 4 is just, it's common practice. It is that golden thread that runs throughout everything they do, and there's always embedded throughout. And what that looks like, it's not a very good image. Apologies. I had to try and take it, and then, but as you can see, kind of left-hand side is the topic. So careers leadership and distributed leadership of careers. Your column 1, named careers lead. I mean, that's the minimum. Like, there is a named career lead. Okay, right. There is a career lead who has done the training or is in the process of doing the training, and their role within the staffing structure and the time to do that is made clear. Great. Okay. Oh, the leader is suitably qualified, has a position on senior leadership, and there's enough capacity resource that helps deliver that plan. And then number 4 is, specialist training. There's systems, processes. There's more than just one person. There's a lot of people. The load is spread. It's not just the pure career leaders. You've got department heads on board. You might have kind of senior leaders that are allocated to that. And it just gives you an idea of the maturity model. So, your 1 is your minimum, 4 is the exceeding expectations, if you like. That is, and this is just a feedback from one of the early rollouts. A few people trialed it, but never felt so empowered by a process, supportive, non-judgmental, and positive. And as a school, going to adapt that across the trust to improve results, which is great to hear. And it's just always nice to hear from other people. So we've talked about the careers impact system, the introduction of it, the maturity model, and how you would do the internal leadership. Now, if you're thinking, okay, how do I do this? Great. And this is the first step on the journey. Just, there is no, pressure to do it. But if you want to do it, it's kind of that next step. If your careers program you think is in a strong place, this could be the next step for it, and how leadership are involved in that. As we mentioned, it revolves reflecting on the statements in the maturity model, assess which one is best, so 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you should ideally do it before you come together, and then you finalize it. So whether you do it, sit down and do it as a group, or whether you do it individually as career lead, then head teacher or senior leaders, and then you combine together. And this is just showing you that process. So convene, get everybody involved into the process. As Sam said, it only really works if there are people on board with it. You can't expect just the career lead to do it and then go into senior leaders and go, well, this is what I think, this is what I've done, this is what I've said. And they go, okay. Agree on it. Yeah, where are we in that maturity model? Recording it on Compass Plus or Compass. Or a lot of people, what they like to do is do the paper copy first and kind of highlight the box and then follow it up with the digital version by clicking the box. And then importantly, act on it. Okay, well, we've worked out these are the areas that we're going to do. How do we go about doing that? And these are just kind of 4 different ways that you could complete an internal leadership review, and we're encouraging that collaborative approach. So we've had cornerstone employer meetings, we had enterprise advisor meetings yesterday. And if you've got an enterprise advisor, actually it'd be great to involve them in the process and just get that extra pair of eyes on it. So head teacher confirmation of a career leader's point of view. SLT is quite the common one, so actually getting a collection of people to look at it together. A few schools have talked about bringing in their governors, and again, that different pair of eyes and somebody who's got that kind of strategic vision at the top. And then actually at the bottom is more what we're talking about. You know, the careers team review it, and then goes to a wider SLT, and then the head teacher confirms it. So there is that step process involving everybody. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pause that and pass on to Vanessa, because Vanessa has a recording that April Booker, who is a career lead at SGS Forest High School, has done for us around how she went about carrying out the careers impact system. Remember to toggle the bit at the top, Vanessa, unlike I did. Yeah, learn from my
made the mistake of having too many windows open and having to find the correct window. Bear with me.
Joys of technology.
I know, it's all lined up and everything.
We did invite April to come and talk. Unfortunately, she had a meeting, but it is a video that she has recorded for us. It's about 3 minutes long, just talking about how she found the process and how she went about doing it.
I will find it. Bear with me. There, got it. Can you see that now?
Yep.
April mid-speak. Right, let's go. Let me know if you've got sound.
No, I'm really sorry that I couldn't be with you today, but I wanted to just share something that I do at my school, what I did with my SLT. I'm obviously really lucky that I am part of the leadership team at SGS Forest. But what I did was before, a couple of weeks before our meeting, I gave them a copy of the impact, all of the different standards, and I asked them to take some time to read through all of the different statements for each different category, and I wanted them to tick where they felt as a school we were, and I wanted them to be as honest as they could, which was really, really interesting. And I also did the same. And then when we came together around the table, I said where I thought, and we kind of had a bit of a debate, and it was really interesting because where some places I actually didn't think we were achieving, they were actually, well, actually, April, you do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. And it was really, really interesting. But also the SLT that on au fait with what we do as careers leads actually got to see how intense and how much information there is out there, and what we have to do on a day-to-day basis. So it actually opened their eyes to see actually this is a really, really big role. And I think it really, really helped the leadership team to see how important careers is in the curriculum. And once we all kind of agreed and they all told me where they thought we were, I was keeping a tally on my sheet. So for instance, if on one tab, if I had 4, but 1 on another, then I kind of knew we were roughly around there. And there were some things that I didn't agree with, and they said we were further on than what we were. But I made sure that it was completely fair. And once I did that, I then highlighted the document. So green where we were secure, amber is like our next steps. And once I did that, I was able to then go into Compass Plus and go onto the impact tool and actually fill it out, which was really, really easy as well. So I know I'm not there in person just to show you the forms that that we did and how I highlighted and how we did it, but I just thought that would give you a little bit of information on how I approached it. But I also appreciate that I'm in kind of not a privileged position, but that I meet with the leadership team once a week anyway in a meeting. But I just made sure that I had a big gap where we were able to devote that time, and I made it really explicit a couple of weeks before that this had to be done, otherwise it would have been a pointless meeting. So I had the engagement of all of the team. I hope that helps, and if anyone does want to drop me an email, I'm sure Vanessa and Rob will share my email with you all. Okay, thank you, and apologies that I can't be with you today.
Perfect. So that's just April's explanation of how she went about doing it, and what she said was really good was that actually it made SLT realize how much she's actually doing, because often we all know, and we don't need to preach to the converted here, careers, we're all passionate about it, but actually do SLT recognize the importance of what you're doing and how much actually you do. So there's only a couple more slides left, you'll be pleased to know. So and this is more about, so you've decided we're going to do the careers internal leadership review. Great, you've got your people together. Now you want to record it on Compass Plus, and this allows you to record it as you saw on the video. Kind of you click the button and it automatically kind of does it for you. It allows us access, so you can share it with your enterprise coordinator. You can sit down and assess and work out, okay, well, these are the areas that are identified as being work-ons, and we'll talk a little bit more about what the next step after that would be. But just how it, again, briefly looks on Compass. So on the left-hand side where you'd go to your Compass evaluation, it says internal leadership or careers impact system. Click on that internal leadership review. And as you see on the left-hand side there, it is just you tick which one you think it is, save and continue. Very much like a Compass assessment, just around the topics from the maturity model. And as you can see on the right-hand side, if you're coming out stronger, it goes to green, the bars are longer, where it areas you've identified that need strengthening, and amber and slightly smaller. And so you've decided you've done your careers impact system internal leadership review, you've sat down and gone, that was really useful. Actually, now what I want to do is how do I compare with other people across the board? So again, I'm going to invite Sam Tricky to jump in, if Sam is still there, hopefully. And so
I'm
Sam,
still here.
perfect. So what Sam did, if it lets me stop presenting, is you were the first one. In fact, you're kind of the pioneer for us as a careers hub, and you did it cross county as well, didn't you? So if you wouldn't mind talking about why you felt it was important and who you did it with and how you found that whole process, if you're happy to do so, please.
Yeah. So yeah, that took some setting up, is what I would say. But my enterprise coordinator was really supportive and did all of that. And we talked about the types of organizations that we would love to peer review with. So it's not just a case of someone saying, oh, you're going to peer review with them and them. You have a conversation and a discussion about that. So we decided, it sort of happened that it was cross county, which was amazing, because sometimes I think people can feel a little bit precious about sharing some of their vulnerabilities sometimes as well. Not that we should, but sometimes we do, because we often think that somebody's doing a better job than we are. So, and if it's in your local area, is that, do you feel comfortable with that? So I peer reviewed with Yeovil College and Bath College, and we met actually a neutral place. We met at the Careers Hub in Bristol, which was brilliant. So central for sort of the three parties. It was a really structured day. It was incredibly well organised by the Careers Hub, and we got to talk about our leadership review. We could present it. We had a certain amount of time per organisation to say how we'd found the process, what our internal leadership review looked like, and what we were most proud of and what we felt we needed to work on as a result of the review. And then once everyone had done that, we all sort of got together and peer and critiqued each other's, and actually what it came out with is we were all struggling with the same thing, which was parental engagement was one of them for all three of us. And actually it felt really good to have other colleges saying the same thing, because as a careers leader, it can be quite a lonely place. You know, I am quite fortunate that this is my whole job, and I have really great SLT support, but it's still a big job in whatever size of organization you're in, and it can be quite lonely sometimes. So to be working with other careers leaders and some of the, you know, saying some of the same things and some differences as well, and the idea is it's that we both then we can all support each other with what our areas for development are, and of course share best practice of what we're doing well and share ideas. How do we make that happen? How did, you know, Yeovil College and Bath College make some of the things happen that we were struggling with? So it was really, really good. And we have got a follow-up meeting. I don't know if am I allowed to say that, Rob? Am I jumping the gun? We got a follow-up meeting booked for November, to catch up again and see how we've progressed with the 3 priorities that we'd all set ourselves.
Amazing. Are you still in contact with those colleges? Like, have you made that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
And that was a really good highlight. So thank you for that. Thank you for explaining that. And so that was cross county, and then we did a second one probably not long after you done yours, I think, where we had 3 schools: Denmark Road High School, Bourneside from Cheltenham, and Redknock in Dursley. And what was really good about that is 2 of the 3 brought head teachers who took time out of their day to come and support their career lead. And it was very similar to what you said. Actually, they all came to the meeting, and it was all 3 of them had different strengths that they wanted to highlight, and all 3 of them had different areas that they wanted to improve. But through a bit of conversation and a bit of kind of probing a little bit, it's not judgmental. It wasn't, you know, criticizing. It was, oh, well, have you thought about approaching it this way? This is how we've done it. And you could see like light bulbs going off, going, oh, okay, right. And so that was really good. And again, like the amount of time, people always panic and go, oh, we've only got a certain allocated time. I think nearly every single one went over the time limit. And you go, well, because people want to talk, and once you get into the depths of it, it was really meaningful. And again, we've got a follow-up, but off the back of that, I know a couple of the career leads are still in conversation and talking to each other and looking at, oh, you mentioned that, how are you finding this? Which is really good, and something we are trying to do as a careers hub a bit more this year is kind of a bit more that collaboration, and let's get people together more than just the career leader conference. Let's combine together. That is pretty much careers impact system in a nutshell. So your first step is that internal leadership review, and if you want any support, any help, contact your enterprise coordinator, so myself, Vanessa, Angie, and we can show you how to do that, where to do it, who do you want to get involved with it. Record it on Compass. And then actually, there is no pressure for you to do a peer-to-peer. You don't have to. But if you think, okay, that's the next logical step, let us know, and we can facilitate that and getting the schools or the colleges together. And we support with the process. Again, the prep makes it look worse than it is. When we do the training, we were sat there going, wow, that's going to be hard. But it's identifying, you know, what are the strengths, what area do you want to improve on, and a few kind of notes. And you get to support other people. But we can again help with all of that, and if there's schools or colleges or establishments you think I'd like to do it with them, again, let us know. We don't want to be putting anybody against people they don't want to be going against. That's not the aim of this. It is that supportive element. But are there any questions? Because I feel like I've talked a lot. None whatsoever. I've done such an amazing job. We've covered all the bases.
I've just scheduled on my calendar as part of our CPD program. We're going to make sure that after every session there's an opportunity for a follow-up drop-in, because I know that I need lots of processing time. When I've had a CPD, it's only afterwards when I think, oh, I wish I'd asked this, or I've got a follow-up question. So I will send the invitation out, and it's optional. You can accept the invitation so it's on your calendar and then just not use it. But this Friday afternoon from 1 till 4, I'm going to set that aside, and I will be sitting here on Teams do my admin, and if you've got any questions you want to ask, you can just drop in for 5 minutes or however long to ask me about anything that you want to follow up with from today. Eileen, I know you don't work Fridays, so I'll be seeing you on Thursday anyway, so that's okay.
I've just stopped the recording.